never take advice from fools. I just figure everything is cool until I hear it from you.
Now let's take a look at the Sunday Night Football betting preview. I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. It's Patriots and the Jets. Vegas and, of course, those offshore odds makers have the point spread in favor of the Jets, -2 with a total of 47. Now, OffshoreInsiders.com is going to take a look at this from the standpoint of the bettor, using key numbers that bettors use. Now, I realize if you're just a casual sports fan, some of this stuff may be information overload, but if you are a hardcore gambler, you're going to love it. And wait till you hear some of these incredible spread trends we got in a moment. In comparing yards per rush on offense, the better numbers belong to the Patriots by 0.9. Now, as far as passing yards per completion on the offensive side of the ball, it's New England by 0.9 as well. Yards per point, the more efficient offense is the Jets by 3.5. We'll get to that yards per point explanation in a moment. Defensively, the more stingy team based on yards per rush is the Jets, but by a very narrow 0.1. Superior defense in terms of passing yards per completion is New York by 0.2. Yards per point statistic, used by the best sports handicappers, including those at OffshoreInsiders.com, says the superior defense is the New England Patriots by 2.5. Meanwhile, the upper hand belongs to the Jets in the turnover department by 4. Now, who do you want to bet on according to the football betting experts? No question about it. Me, Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. Top NFL handicapper ever. I've got the side on God's tips. The entire day's package is just $17. But even if you only get this in time to get the Sunday Night Football, don't worry. It's more than worth it. No one has dominated any sport the way I have the NFL. Now for the total. Stevie Vincent, the founder of the revolutionary Forensic Sports Handicapping, has a historic bet on the total. It's the blue ribbon play of the year. Not just a total of the year, not just a game of the year, but the play of the year. Level 5 winner. It's all at OffshoreInsiders.com. Yards per point, by the way, that is dividing the total yards by the number of points. Offensively, a lower number is considered more efficient. On defense, a higher number is better, means you're forcing teams to waste some yardage. Some people might refer to that as a bend but don't break type defense. Now let's take a look at some spread betting trends. All records, by the way, are ATS against the spread. Patriots are perfect 11-0 off a game in which they had no sacks. They're 16-3 following a game in which they lost spread-wise by at least 7 points and had 30 or fewer minutes time of possession in that game. Meanwhile, the Jets 16-2 off of a game on artificial surfaces. Artificial services, you get that elsewhere. You get real services at OffshoreInsiders.com. Let's try that again. Jets 16-2 if they're off of a game on artificial surfaces in which they had 2 or fewer turnovers. But they're 11-23 off of a game in which they led by at least 14 points after the third quarter, but had less than 2 sacks. Now, as far as some over-under trends, New England's going under 11 straight if they scored 21 points or less in their last game, if the posted total was 44.5 points or higher. They've gone over 23-8 if they gave up 21 points or more in their last game. That is excluding if they're coming off a Monday Night Football contest, which, of course, they are not. Now, the Jets have gone under. Are you sitting down for this? If not, I want to give you a minute to sit down. Jets have gone under a stunning 26-3 off a conference game in which the total was 44.5 or higher, and under 18-1 if they scored 21 or more points in their last game if the total was 44.5 or higher. They've also gone under 35-13 if they had less than 2 sacks their last game, and the total was 40.5 or higher. Yet they've gone over 9 straight if they had 2 or fewer sacks against Buffalo in their last game, and over 41-21 if they punted 4 or fewer times their last game and led by at least 14 after 3 quarters. Remember, the best sports service picks in the world, they're always at OffshoreInsiders.com.